Hey there, why does classification of different types of software requirements matters? Software requirements is one of the most important and critical artifacts in software development. And misunderstanding software requirements is one of the most common problems in software development that introduces customer defects in the later phases of the software development. Therefore, understanding the classifications of different levels and types of software requirements is necessary. Hi, I'm Lucman Abdulrachman, an experienced IT professional here to help you achieve your aspiration in becoming an IT professional. A requirement is a service, function, or feature that a business or customer needs, which is specified for the purpose of clarifying and communicating the required capability. It is important to understand the type of requirement being specified. Is the stated requirement a business need, customer need, or a particular group of stakeholders need? To provide clarity and context to the issue, requirements are often categorized by different levels. The levels of requirements start from high-level requirements, the business requirements. This level is the sponsor point of view. It states the scope of the project and the objectives of the business in undertaking the project. The business requirements is then referenced to a high-level detailed requirements, the stakeholders requirements. This level is the end user point of view, and it states the end user's goals and the expected inputs and outputs. Stakeholders' requirements are then analyzed to become more detailed requirements, the solution or system requirements. At this level, the requirements are detailed enough for the development team to understand in order for them to implement it. At this level, the requirement states the functional requirements, what the system does, and the non-functional requirements, how well the system works. According to the Business Analyst Book of Knowledge by IIBA, the requirements can be categorized into different types. First is the business requirements. Business requirements includes statements of goals, objectives, and outcomes that describe why a change has been initiated. They can apply to a whole of an enterprise, a business area, or a specific initiative. Second is stakeholders requirements. Stakeholders requirements describe the needs of stakeholders that must be met in order to achieve the business requirements. They may serve as a bridge between business and solution requirements. Third is the solution requirements. Solution requirements describe the capabilities and qualities of a solution that meets the stakeholders' requirements. They provide the appropriate level of detail to allow for the development and implementation of the solution. Solution requirements can be divided into two subcategories: functional requirements and non-functional requirements. The fourth of the main types of requirements are transition requirements. Transition requirements describe the capabilities that the solution must have and the conditions the solution must meet to facilitate transition from the current state of the system to the future state, but which are not needed once the change is complete. They are differentiated from other requirements types because they are of a temporary nature. Transition requirements address topics such as data conversion, training to end users, and business continuity. Let us discuss in detail each type of requirements. Business requirements. Business requirements describe why the organization is undertaking the project. They state some of the benefits that the organization or its customers expect to receive from undertaking the project. Business requirements are maybe documented in several ways, such as project charter, business case, or in project vision and scope statement. Business requirements may include problem statement. A problem statement is a concise description of an issue to be addressed or a condition to be approved upon. It identifies the gap between the current state of the system and the desired state. Business requirements also include product vision. The product vision describes a future state of the product and what problems it tries to resolve and what ambitions it tries to fulfill. Having a clear and inspiring product vision helps in motivating and inspiring people, like the development team, stakeholders, customers, and end users. Another critical part of business requirements are project constraints. Project constraints are limiting factors for your project that can impact quality, delivery, and overall project success. There are many project constraints to consider, including resources, methodology, and customer satisfaction. These are worth planning depending on your organizational structure and processes. Another important part of business requirements is business objectives. These are business objectives that you want the project to accomplish. Within project management, it is of the utmost importance that the project's objectives are stated clearly as this will impact every decisions in the project life cycle. Another part of business requirements is project scope statements or features. The project scope statement provides the documented basis for making all development decisions and is used to direct the development effort and communicate the project scope to the development team and other stakeholders. During the gathering of business requirements, it may include business process analysis or BPA. BPA is a methodology for the analysis of a business with a view to understanding the processes and improving the efficiency and effectiveness of its operations. It describes the processes involved, parties participating, information exchanged, and the documents produced. Another important part of business requirements analysis is stakeholder analysis. A stakeholder analysis is a process of identifying the stakeholders before the project begins, grouping them according to their levels of participation, interest, and influence in the project, and determining how best to involve and communicate each of these stakeholder groups out. Business requirements analysis may also include business impact analysis or BIA. BIA is the process of determining the criticality of business activities and associated resource requirements to ensure operational resilience and continuity of operations during and after a business disruption. The BIA quantifies the impacts of each disruption on service delivery, the risk of service delivery, and recovery time objectives and recovery point objectives. These recovery requirements are then used to develop strategies, solutions, and plans. Stakeholder requirements. Stakeholder requirements describe the need of a stakeholder or a group of stakeholders, where the term stakeholder is used broadly to reflect the role of anyone with a material interest in the outcome of an initiative. A stakeholder may include business analyst. The business analyst is inherently a stakeholder in all business analysis activities. The business analyst is responsible and accountable for the execution of these activities. In some cases, the business analyst may also be responsible for performing activities that fall under another stakeholder role. Another stakeholder is the customer. A customer uses or may use products or services produced by the enterprise and may have contractual or moral rights that the enterprise is obliged to meet. Another stakeholder is domain subject matter expert. A domain subject matter expert is any individual with in-depth knowledge of a topic relevant to the business need or solution scope. This role is often filled by people who may be end users or people who have in-depth knowledge of the solutions, such as managers, process owners, legal staff, consultants, and others. Another important stakeholder is the end user. End users are stakeholders who directly interact with the solution. End users can include all participants in a business process or who use the product or solution. One of the contributing stakeholders are the implementation subject matter expert. An implementation subject matter expert is any stakeholder who has specialized knowledge regarding the implementation of one or more solution components. While it is not possible to define a listing of implementation subject matter expert roles that are appropriate for all initiatives, some of the most common roles are product owners, solution architect, developer, database administrator, and information architect. Another type of stakeholder is operational support. Operational support is responsible for the day-to-day management and maintenance of a system or product. While it is not possible to define a listing of operational support roles that are appropriate for all initiatives, some of the most common roles are operational analyst, product analyst, help desk, and release manager. Another type of stakeholder is project manager. Project managers are responsible for managing the work required to deliver a solution that meets a business need and for ensuring that the project's objectives are met while balancing the project factors including scope, budget, schedule, resources, quality, and risk. While it is not possible to completely define a listing of project management roles that are appropriate for all initiatives, some of the most common roles are project lead, technical lead, product manager, and team leader. Stakeholders can also be regulators. Regulators are responsible for definition and enforcement of standards. Standards can be imposed on the solution by regulators through legislation, corporate governance standards, audit standards, and standards defined by organizational centers of competency. Alternative roles are government, regulatory bodies, and auditors. Another important stakeholder are the sponsors. Sponsors are responsible for initiating the effort to define a business need and develop a solution that meets the need. They authorize the work to be performed and control the budget and scope for the initiative. Alternative roles are executive and project sponsor. Another stakeholder are the suppliers. A supplier is a stakeholder outside the boundary of the given organization or organizational unit. Suppliers provide products or services to the organization and may have contractual or moral rights and obligations that must be considered. Alternative roles are providers, vendors, and consultants. Another contributing stakeholder are testers. Testers are responsible for determining how to verify the solution meets the requirements defined by the business analyst, as well as conducting the verification process. Testers also seek to ensure that the solution meets applicable quality standards and that the risk of defects or failure is understood and minimized. An alternative role is the quality assurance analyst. Solution or system requirements. Solution requirements describe the features, functions, and characteristics of a product, service, or result that will meet the business and stakeholder requirements. Solution requirements are further grouped into functional and non-functional requirements. Functional requirements describe the capabilities that the solution must have in terms of the behavior and information that the solution will manage. Functional requirements may include transactional requirements, business rules, reporting, administrative, data management, and others. Non-functional requirements, also known as quality of service requirements, do not relate directly to the behavior or functionality of the solution, but rather describe conditions under which a solution must remain effective or qualities that a solution must have. Non-functional requirements may include usability, reliability, efficiency, security, availability, and other quality attributes. For a quite long time, architecturally significant requirements were not recognized as important notions when talking about architecture. non-functional requirements or quality attributes is often used. However, recent empirical studies shows that for a software system, not all non-functional requirements affect its architecture, and requirements that are not non-functional requirements can also affect its architecture. So, architecturally significant requirements is a valuable notion that is suggested to use when talking about requirements in relation to architecture. Architecturally significant requirements are those requirements that have measurable effect on computer systems architecture. This can comprise both software and hardware requirements. They are a subset of requirements, the subset that affects the architecture of a system in measurably identifiable ways. Architectural requirements may include the structure of the system, principles used in development, behaviors of the product, constraints, technologies, and other requirements that may affect the architecture of the system. I hope that gives you some insights in understanding the classification of different levels and types of software requirements. If you have questions or clarifications, please leave us a comment in the comment section below and do not forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for more videos.